Hey guys, what's up? It's Taylor from the Poor Man's Workshop. Today's video is all about the miter saw planer flip top tool stand. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made these wings that flip down as in and out feeds for the planer, and then a couple other things that I've done with the flip top to make it more sturdy and more usable. Stick around, the video's coming up. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the second edition of my miter saw flip top tool stand. If you haven't had a chance to watch the first episode of this segment, make sure you check it out before watching this video. It'll make a little bit more sense. I'll put a link in the comments below, and it will give you a better idea of where we're at with this project. So to start off with this video, I'm just finishing up the drawer that is below the stand. So this first little part is very basic. If you know how to create a drawer, you're probably going to find that this part is not very exciting. By all means, if you would like to skip forward, you can skip forward, but I encourage you to watch. There might be some things that you learn from it, and there's definitely some things that I can learn in the way that I do this. So please leave those in the comments below if there's something that you would have done a little bit different. I'm always looking for ways to improve my woodworking skills. So it's pretty basic. I just cut out the dimensions out of the 1/2-inch plywood that I had left over, and then used my pocket hole jig, and then I glued it all together with the bottom and squared it all up to create the drawer. So I decided to go with soft close drawer slides. I think that was a little bit of overkill, especially on shop furniture, but I wanted to see how the soft close worked, and I like it. I think it works really, really well. Especially if I have a lot of heavy stuff in there, it'll make it so it doesn't bang if I was to close the drawer quickly. So we obviously need to create a front panel for this. I just used some 1/2-inch plywood and cut it to dimensions after measuring it, and screwed and glued it on the front part of the drawer. And then I added a nice little wooden knob. You can get these at Lowe's for $1 or $2. So once I got the heavy power tools onto the stand, I noticed that there was a little bit of racking. It seemed like things were a little bit unstable. So I created some racking supports, is what I call them. They're simply just triangular pieces that will go kind of towards the bottom of the stand to add a little bit more support, so that when it's being flipped, I don't have to be worried about the whole thing collapsing. Obviously, when creating any sort of support like this, you want to make sure that your tools are going to be able to clear. So once that was finished, I had to create some wings that would help to hold up the fence for the miter saw and the planer. This was a really simple process. I just created kind of some bigger triangular pieces just like the racking supports, but ones that I could connect to the side of the stand with just a piano hinge that would flip out and help to support the fence on both sides. What ultimately is holding up each one of the wings is a bolt that I set into the side. The nice thing about doing it this way is that the bolt can be raised or lowered to make sure that those wings are perfectly level. This makes it really, really easy for me to adjust it if I need to ever adjust it up and down. The thing that I'm most proud of with this project is the fence. This fence is awesome in the fact that it can go from being 90 degrees for when you're using the miter saw to completely flat for an in and out feed for your planer. That's what I wanted when I had the idea of doing this project. Is I wanted something that I could use with my miter saw, and then the fence could also be used as in and out feeds for the planer. So to start, I simply just cut the platform parts and the back of the fence on my table saw, and then I cut a 45-degree angle on each side. That way when it's folded up, it'll be exactly 90 degrees. How thick you want the fence to be kind of depends on you and your preference. I wanted the top part to be 2.5 inches because eventually I'm going to put a Kreg track stop system on this, and that's what that requires in order for it to all fit with Kreg's system. Once I got those all cut to length and width, I simply just put them together with a couple door hinges. I can telepathically hear some of you saying, how do you get it to lock at 90 degrees when you're using the miter saw? Well, this is how I do it. So I took a couple pieces of scrap maple that I had, and I created some supports on the bottom. This gives it some support when it's flipped down for the planer, but it will also help to lock in place. There's also a support that will go on the back that will help to lock in place. what I did is I drilled a couple holes in both the supports that will be on the bottom of the fence that will have a couple bolts that'll run up through it and connect with the support that is on the back of the fence, and it'll bolt and lock together. It'll make more sense once you visually see it. The bolt will run up through the bottom support, through a spacer, and then through the top support, and it'll all bolt together and be strong and sturdy so that the fence doesn't move at that 90-degree angle. So to get the bolt to stay, I simply use a little bit of CA glue, put the glue with the bolt into the hole, and then I epoxy glued around it. While the glue is drying, I cut a couple spacers from some leftover walnut that I have. These will space in between the bottom support and the top support of the fence. This will have a bolt running up through it and connect both sides to keep it strong and sturdy and at that 90 degrees. After both sides of the fence were created, all I did was measure where center was with my miter saw and connected it to each side of the stands using a piano hinge. I later changed this because the piano hinge kind of moved a little bit and caused things to get out of square with the miter saw. So I changed it to a door hinge, which seems to work a lot better. After that was all done, it was time to install the power tools. Now, I did this at the end of the first video, but I had to redo it again to make sure that the fence of the stand matched the fence of my miter saw. This is a simple but tedious process of just making sure everything is level and square. And that's it. The miter saw is all finished. Well, minus the Kreg track, which I will show in another video on how to install the Kreg track and stop system. I love the way that this turned out. This makes this flip top so much more usable to be able to have the fence flip down and be in and out feeds for the planer. And I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. Well, that's it for the video. I hope you liked it. Hope you found some inspiration. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification button to be notified anytime I post a new video online. Again, thanks for watching, and always remember, never stop creating.